Hello. So this is a little live Q&A where I talk about the current astrology for March 24, 2025. So if you're watching this, I'll just be talking about a little bit what the first half of 2025 is and what I think all of these astrology trends are doing. And if somebody asks any questions during the live, I will answer these questions. So I'll make this video a little bit more interactive, a little bit more free speaking, because I just want to talk very freely about everything that's going on astrologically and also what this has to do with what the collective is experiencing individually. So, as you know, there has been all this Pisces stuff going on. Since 2025 started, we've had almost half the zodiac, half the planets in Pisces. So at any given time, at the time that I'm making this video, the first 3 months, it's just been a little bit of a drag, because you see, what Pisces is about is to release something, to end something, to stop doing something. It's about removal. And this is what makes it a little bit difficult, because the nature of Pisces is to find what's toxic, what's wrong in your life, and to force you through the tides, through the emotions, to break free from that. Think of being in a furnace and something is putting pressure on you. And the pressure is rising and rising and rising until you're overwhelmed by it and you have no choice but to surrender. You're like, okay, I can't do anything. I guess that is it. I guess that is the end. Okay. It's where the mind loses its grip. So you're not trying to fix it anymore. You're not trying to analyze it anymore. You're done. But in order for you to be done, your choice has to be taken away. And this is what everybody, in a way, instinctively, because of course it's not the entire truth, but instinctively you don't like Pisces. Yes, you, whoever's watching, and everybody. Instinctively, to be human is to dislike Pisces energy. And it's not because Pisces is somehow negative. It's not because Pisces is a malefic sign or anything like that. It's simply because to be in Pisces, to deal with Pisces, is to be in the fog, in the haze, in the mist. There's water dripping through the ceiling. There are pipes being overloaded and blocked up. There's a warning of an impending danger, but you can't see the danger yet, so you don't know even if it's coming, but you're going to be prepared anyways. And then, when it's supposed to come, nothing happens. And you're like, okay, then why did I do all of this? Why did I put in the effort? Why did I overanalyze? Why did I worry? If nothing is happening anyways. But when you don't worry, when you do nothing, when you don't overanalyze, and guess what happens? The thing that you thought was not going to happen does actually happen. And this is excruciating. This is frustrating. And this is also why most people fall into the trap, the Pisces trap. So, of course, you probably get an idea of what I'm talking about already. If there's negativity all the time, if there's worry all the time, eventually I'm just going to say, okay, I'm not going to worry about this anymore. There's no point. There's too much worry. At some point, you're just going to stop worrying. And the moment you stop worrying, guess what happens? Another problem comes, another problem. But because you just learned dealing with these problems is kind of pointless, because there's too many, so you just resign. You just do nothing. And the ego doesn't like this. Not only does the ego not like this, but generally, if you go too far with this, you just end up being passive and you don't go anywhere. So nothing changes. You are essentially frozen. You are trapped. But you've convinced yourself that it's better to be trapped and do nothing than deal with all of these problems which never seem to stop. And this is where Pisces actually starts to ask you to do something. There's something you have to do here. You have to go with the tides. You have to surrender to the flow. You have to accept that this is life. You have to accept that sometimes your solutions don't work. Sometimes your overthinking doesn't work. And other times it does work. But because there's no written formula for what you can do, there's no tutorial, there's no instruction, there's no clear pathway, there's nothing you can do except to adapt to the situation and just react to everything day by day and just go with it. That means you are not in charge. You are not in control. You don't have any stability. You don't have any structure. You don't have anything to really go with. You're just responding. You're just doing whatever the situation requires. And this also provides another trap. Because once you do this, which is, by the way, the right thing to do initially, now you become super reactive and everything pulls on you. This problem, I don't know. What problem should I focus on? What's the priority? So you get tied into all of these problems, into all these cords, and you get pulled by everything. You get upset by everything. That means you get hypersensitive, where everything upsets you, and you see danger everywhere. So this is where Pisces actually gets its paranoia from. So you get fearful because, well, I don't know what's going to happen next, but something's going to happen. But I still need to be in reality. I still need to do something about it. So I'm going to protect myself by being prepared for a problem, by avoiding whatever causes the problem. But because there's so many ways that you don't know of what could cause a problem for you, there's so many things that could go wrong. You're trying to do everything not to do anything wrong. And again, you're pulled into doing nothing. Again, you do nothing to protect yourself, you shut down. So this is where Pisces escapism is coming from. So I don't know if I'm making any sense here. Okay. So I guess where I'm going with this video is I'm trying to give you an idea of what it's like to be Pisces. Well, like, I don't know if you have any Pisces placements. I don't know if you have Neptune prominent in your chart, if you have any 12th house placements or something. But if you do, then you should be familiar with what I'm talking about. But if you don't, then at least you should be able to recognize where this is happening in your life right now. Right now. And it's going to continue to be like this until these Pisces-Transits are over, which is going to be once Venus and Mercury go direct and go back into Aries. Because at that point, we will only have Saturn and the North Node in Pisces. And even Saturn is going to leave briefly for a few months. So then it's only going to be the North Node for the second half of 2025. Okay. So this also is true. It actually does cause procrastination. This also causes mind fog, where you're just like, oh my God, what is happening? What do I do? Like everything is just too much pressure. So what do you do about this? What you can do is to practice acceptance. You have to have some kind of spiritual practice. You have to understand how to deal with your emotions, because the Pisces problem is your emotions. The problem is not out there. You're supposed to be able to control your emotions. At least that's what you want to do. But the more you try to control your emotions, the more out of control you actually feel. So it seems like no matter what I do, it always leads me into another trap. That's Pisces. So that means you have to do the opposite. you have to be okay with the problem. You have to allow the problem to be there. You have to be able to see the positivity in the dark. So let's say you have a communication problem in a relationship or in your job, because Pisces is opposing Virgo. Virgo is the South Node. So all the communication problems that you see are going to be revealed. There's going to be worry or stress about what to say, what's right, what's wrong, how do I deal with this, how do I think about this. And in order to bring this to an end, you need to change your perspective and see what's good about the problem. So instead of trying to fix the problem, you invite the problem. The problem is a good thing. And because the problem is a good thing, you don't lose energy. You don't get drained by it. It doesn't bother you. So, in essence, what Pisces is trying to do to you is trying to make you unbothered. But the trap of this is that the mass majority of people become unbothered by just convincing themselves that it's okay to do nothing. But this is not what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to do nothing. You're supposed to think. Yes, think, use your brain to understand why it's good, why it's right, why it is just what is happening. Okay? You don't try to escape it. You don't try to use your positive thinking to bypass or override the situation, which is what the vast majority of people are going to do. So the vast majority of people will bury the problem. They will hide it, push it under a rug, pretend it's not there, hoping that in the next morning when they wake up, they're not going to think about it anymore. As if not dealing with a problem means the problem is going to go away. But it doesn't go away until you believe that you are where you're supposed to be. Until you are happy. How do you do that? How are you happy when there's chaos all around you and everything is kind of out of your control? By understanding that there is something you're supposed to be doing. Are you doing that? Okay. This is actually very interesting because many people don't think about it this way. They associate Sagittarius or Libra or Saturn with what's the right thing to do. But actually, in Pisces, you are forced to figure out what is the right thing that you're supposed to be doing. Because if you can't figure it out, you will be trapped, no matter what you do. This is why I started this video explaining that no matter what you do, you're doing it wrong. Everything that you try to do to fix your problem in Pisces, every attempt, every thought, every movement is going to end up in a trap. And a lot of Pisceans know this. If you have any Pisces placements in your chart, you're already aware of this dilemma. This is why you don't get trapped in the lower mind. Yeah. Pisces is higher mind, higher perspective. Jupiter is exalted in Pisces. Neptune transcends or overcomes the material realm to understand the infinite reason to what's right, the infinite truth behind something. You know, Imagine there is a specific solution to a problem. So let's say you have a door, and in order to open the locked door, you need the key. So every time you use that key, the door opens, right? That's a specific solution to a problem. But with Pisces, you're not using that material key to open the door. You are using whatever has produced the key to open the door. Okay, because Pisces deals with the energy that is before birth, before you are born. So there is something in your DNA, something in your nervous system, something in your unconscious mind that is manifesting what you see. It's manifesting your physical body. It's manifesting your behavior. It's manifesting your thinking. But this is outside of your awareness. So they say that the unconscious mind rules 90 to 99% of your actions. So Pisces rules 99% of your actions. That is kind of what they're saying, right? Because Pisces is the subconscious mind. So in order to change the result when all planets are in Pisces, you have to change the belief. You have to change the subconscious mind. So you finding a key to open the door is not enough if you don't know where the key comes from, if you don't know why you even are in the situation. Why am I even here opening a door? Why am I not dealing with a door that doesn't need a key? Why do I even have to have a key? Like the reason why you do something, right? Like you're on planet Earth. But why am I on planet Earth? Why am I not in any other realm? Why am I being here? Like, how can this be good for me to be in this chaos, right? So you're able to find that out. Once you're finding out why you're in this chaos, you can break free. So Pisces is only about finding an answer to a question that most people don't even ask. So let's say you go through a breakup and your partner leaves you and you're asking, why did my partner leave me? So then you're looking at all the behaviors of your partner. Yes, because of the personality, because they had this relationship history, because of their past, that's why they left me. This is not why. The reason why you were even in the situation, why you're even in a situation where somebody leaves you, right? It's not about, okay, why did they leave? Oh, they did A, so then B happened. That's Virgo, right? That is the lower mind. No, you were in the situation where somebody leaves you because you needed to get a specific amount of pressure, a specific amount of experience, a specific amount of knowledge in order to get to the next stage of your life, to move from that situation to another situation. But to get to the other situation in the future, you first had to go through that breakup. So in other words, there's nothing you could have done to prevent that breakup from happening from a Pisces perspective. From a Pisces perspective, nothing that happens you can do anything about. Like everything is hopeless, you could say. And this is something that people don't think this way. So it requires you to think outside of the box. Right, we have this box, we have a body, we have choices, we can do things, but actually you can only do things in the confines, in the restrictions of what you need to experience. So no matter what you do, you will experience what you need, regardless of what you choose. Which of course means your choice is relevant, because what you need will happen sooner or later. But if you don't know what you need, then you think you are trapped, then you think you are stuck. And because you believe that you are trapped, you are trapped. It is true, right? So this is Pisces. The reason why you're trapped is because you believe you are trapped, not because you think you are, no. Because if I'm in a relationship and somebody leaves me, and I know I can't get them back, I'm restricted. I can't get them back. I'm limited in my options. But I'm not trapped on a deeper level. I'm trapped only on the surface. I'm helpless, I'm powerless only on the surface. In reality, this is exactly what I need. This is perfect. This is ideal. This is, yes, thank you. But it's not ideal if I don't know why it happens. Because if I don't know why it happens, chances are it's going to happen again. So Pisces represents things that are repeating themselves, things that are compulsive, things that you make happen without realizing that you are the cause of the situation. And this is why Pisces is, people would say it's what happens after you've done everything else. You've been through all the signs. You've done everything you're supposed to be doing. Now you have to play out like a tape recorder. This is why Pisces roots music tapes, recordings, movie productions, anything you put on record is ruled by Pisces. The medium that stores the recording that you play over and over and over again. You make a copy. Yeah, you mimic something. You replace something and you replay it because it triggers an emotion. You watch a movie, you listen to music, you listen to the same piece of music 10 times, 20 times, 30 times. Why are you listening to the music? Not because it's doing, technically there's no reason to listen to the music. But the reason why you listen to the music is because it's triggering a reaction in your mind. It's triggering an emotion. And that emotion is what you want. Okay? Pisces shows you the emotions that you want. So everything that you do in your life is because you want some emotions and you don't want other emotions. And then life happens and the emotions that you don't want get triggered. And because so many planets are in Pisces, everything is in Pisces, all the time something happens that you don't want to experience. Therefore, if you change what emotions you want, you will change what is happening. Okay, so this is how you deal with Pisces. I don't know anybody else who talks about this. I've never read anything about this, never seen any videos about this, never heard anybody say anything at all about this stuff. So I just, this is just my thinking. So, of course, there can be other reasons why you're experiencing what you're experiencing right now. Okay, look at your life right now. What is the main thing that's repeating itself in your life? What is the main emotion that you feel every single day? The emotion that you feel the most. Is it an emotion that you like? Or is it an emotion that you dislike and you would rather avoid? The more you try to avoid that emotion, the more that emotion is going to happen. Pisces is also where you get rid of something. You will release. How do you release the emotion that you don't want? By going deeper into the emotion. By doing the thing that instinctively you don't want to do. Right? You don't want to go into the trap. For you, the emotion is the trap. The worry, the anxiety, the fear, the depression, the stress, you don't want those things. But if you do seek those things out, those things will lose their grip, they will lose their control, and you'll be able to break free. You'll be able to release. But the more you try to avoid the stress, more you try to avoid the conflict, more you try to avoid the problems, the more you try to outrun the situation, the more often something is going to trigger that situation to happen. But it doesn't mean that you should just go blindly into everything. This is another trap. I know we're talking a lot about traps here. But if you understand this concept, Pisces is about traps. You're at the sea. You don't know what's going to happen next. If you trust blindly that wherever you go is the right way, you will not like the result, because that is the definition of chaos. So chaos is not what you're looking for. You're looking to be okay with the chaos while still maintaining order. Your goal is order, but your behavior is to know when to resign, when to take a step back, and when to take a step forward. So you're moving back, you're moving forward, up, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that is the Pisces mutable energy of the two fishes going in a circle. One fish is going that direction, the other fish is going after it, and it's going in a circle, because you're not going into just one direction. You are scattering into all directions, looking at all directions, all possible scenarios, all possible outcomes. And then you choose whatever appears to be best. And if it turns out it's not the best, you'll find out why you chose that path and what's good about it. So even if you choose something that's, let's face it, you are going to make a mistake, you are going to fail. Okay, this is not about avoiding failure. You will fail. But you're okay with it. You know you're going to fail. You know you're going to sacrifice something. You know you're going to lose something in order to gain something. Because this is also how in astrology the 12th house works. You put a planet into the 12th house. You put a planet into Pisces. You put a planet with Neptune. And you have to get rid of something through that planet to gain something. This is why people, they donate. They give freely. Like I do free videos. Like I do free articles all the time. In order to be here, you need to pay your dues. You need to perform a service. So with Pisces, you need to serve somehow. But to serve means you have to let go of your personal attachments. Oh, but I want that money. Have to lose the money. Oh, but I want that relationship. Have to lose the relationship. Oh, but I want to be in control. Have to lose control. Of course, there's levels to this. So how much are you okay with losing? And you train yourself to lose more and more your grip on the mind, on the attachment, and things will soften and you'll be able to release faster and faster and faster. And no matter what happens outside of you, you're just like, okay, I'm doing my best here, but whatever. Eventually, going back to the traps, as you rise in your consciousness, let's say you are here, you're here in Pisces, here in all the Pisces planets, but you want to go there. As soon as you go there, you will be so desensitized, so disinterested in what was going on down here. You remember when you were down here, you were super attached, super conscious, super worried. Oh my God, I need to control this. Oh, what's going to happen? Oh no, this is chaos. This is not good for me. I don't like this emotion. Yeah. But now when you get here, you're like, yeah, who cares? Oh yeah, this again. Okay. You're like, you just don't, nothing interests you anymore. You're so desensitized, so disinterested what's happening around you, that it slows you down. It doesn't weigh on you. I'm not talking about Saturn slowing down. Neptune is also a slow planet. There's a reason why Neptune is slow. Pluto, slow. Scorpio, slow. Pisces, water, slow. Why is it slow? Very different from Cancer. Cancer is just the emotions all over the place and you just act. You feel something, you need to act immediately. You need to feel better immediately. Pisces and Scorpio are not like that. In Scorpio, you wait a long time. You sit with it. You feel it for a long time until eventually it's just gone. It's transformed. It doesn't happen anymore. And with Pisces, once you get to that higher consciousness, where nothing bothers you anymore, or almost nothing, of course, nothing. There will always be something that bothers you. But because you're so high, so to speak, you feel as if you are slowed down in your experience of life. Because the more you worry, the more you are afraid, the more you try to control things, it speeds you up. That's something I noticed with Pisces energy. Flightiness. The flightiness of immutable signs. Gemini, Virgo also. Yeah, don't fall for the stoic exterior. But their mind is going 180 degrees. Gemini, they never stop talking. Or they never stop thinking. So everything's fast in the mind. You can think about anything, like instantly. Sagittarius, literally, you're traveling somewhere through a vehicle. Like, you're just moving forward. So all of these multiple signs initially are very fast. But as you go deeper and deeper and deeper into the energy, you go higher, it all slows down. So with Gemini, the mind is now faster at knowing what's right, what's wrong, what's true, what's not true. And because it's faster at analyzing things, it analyzes less. Okay? Because you're faster at perceiving the information correctly, you're faster at receiving and processing the information, you slow down. Your mind slows down. You observe more. You wait more. And with Sagittarius, the more you stretch out, the more you expand, the more you take the space, the more freedom you have, the more calm you feel. Because nothing's restricting you, nothing's blocking you, there's nothing that pulls your energy. So you're not reactive anymore. You're not impulsive anymore. Because you are rooted in self-acceptance. You accept where you are. You know what information you're dealing with. This is also Virgo, Pisces. These are all intellectual signs. So if you go into academic circles, if you go into any environment where there's scholars, script writers, people who just know a lot of stuff, you'll notice those who operate on a very high level of intellect take their time. They're very slow in judging. They're very slow in taking action because they know what's going to happen. Oh, if I take this action, there's going to be these consequences. If I take action, there's going to be these consequences. And the less evolved you are, the more reactive you are, the more emotional you are, the faster you react when something happens, when something triggers you. So when you get higher in Pisces, you don't get triggered so much. So when the trigger happens, you're like, a trigger. You want me to react, but I'm not reacting. So then another trigger happens, another trigger, another trigger, another trigger, and you're still not reacting. If you're not reacting, what are you doing? You're doing nothing. You're standing still. So this is what Pisces rules: silence or quietness. It quiets the mind, quiets the emotions, which slows down the energy in the body. What happens if you slow down the energy in the body? You preserve the energy. You contain the energy. You maintain it. You keep it. So it is not going out. It's not being pulled. And you have boundaries. Yeah, this is a kind of a boundary. But you're not making a boundary with anybody else. You're just saying to yourself, I'm not going to react. Yeah. Of course, what do you see in real life? What do you see people doing who have multiple placements? Pisces, Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo. You see reactivity, impulsivity, people being very impatient, restless, unreliable. I know people think of Virgo as kind of being different from the other multiple signs, but not really, no. If you are on the same level as most people are, so you're not here, but you're down here, you are reactive. And what do you do when you're overwhelmed? You shut down, self-isolate, you ghost. It means you avoid. And this is one of the reasons why I'm talking so much about avoidant attachment. Okay? If you understand avoidant attachment, if you understand how to work with it, what's causing it, why is the person doing this? Really, not intellectually. I'm not talking about, oh yeah, their abandonment is triggered, that's why they do this. No. This is a Virgo way of looking at it. Yeah, we live in a Virgo realm, Mercury realm. It's like it goes back to the example I mentioned earlier. Oh yeah, I opened the door with a key. I don't have the key, I can't open the door. Abandonment is triggered, person runs away. Abandonment is not triggered, person not to run away. Yeah. But the reason why they're avoidant is because they're reacting to the impulse. They're reacting over and over and over again. Why are they reacting to the impulse? Because they have an unconscious belief that the impulse is right. A part of them believes the impulse keeps them safe. As long as they believe that the impulse keeps them safe, they will continue to avoid you, to ghost you, and to self-isolate. So, whether or not their abandonment is triggered, from that perspective, is completely irrelevant. Who cares if their abandonment is triggered? If they believe that their disproportionate, unrealistic, completely out of place, wrong reaction, their wrong impulse is correct, there's nothing you can do. It's completely irrelevant to approach it from this perspective of, oh, if I behave this way, if I come closer, it's triggered. Yeah, but why do they listen to the trigger? They could just ignore the trigger. Why not ignore the trigger? They don't ignore the trigger they get pulled by the trigger like a puppet. Okay? If I get triggered and I react, what am I? Am I in charge? Am I in control? Or am I a puppet? I'm a puppet. So where are you allowing the strings to pull you? And also, there's another way. If you ignore all the strings, you're also avoidant. Two sides of the same coin. If you allow all the strings to pull you, you're avoidant. If you allow none of the strings to pull you, you're also avoidant. So the strength lies in what strings do I allow to pull me and what do not. What strings are proportionate to reality. And chances are, most of the time, you know what's proportionate to reality. You know the string that is pulling you, the trigger that is being activated, has nothing to do with what's real. Or if it does, let's say your fears are founded. Let's say your fears are valid, because you are going to have those situations, of course. Doesn't mean just because you're in Pisces that everything's an illusion. No. There's lots of things that you're worried about that are completely true. But in order to not worry, need to first understand, okay, what would happen if this, what I'm worrying about, would I be able to handle it? If you can handle whatever you're worried about, if you believe you can handle it, and you then also see, you experience firsthand, okay, I do this, I go for the trigger, I ignore the trigger, I let the thing happen that I was worried about. Yes, it happens, my worry comes true, but I'm still here. I'm still fine. If you're still fine, and you see it with your own eyes, then the belief comes into the unconscious, and then the trigger will be weaker or gone. And that is how you work with avoidance. So the reason why avoidance stay avoidance is because they don't have any idea that if they just went through the rejection, if they just faced the abandonment, they wouldn't care anymore. Like they wouldn't care about being abandoned anymore. But because they try to do everything in their power to avoid abandonment from happening, stay avoidant. Okay? So they're in the Pisces trap. Avoidance is literally a Pisces trap. This is why you often see Pisces can really serve as an indicator of what are you avoiding in your life. If you look at whatever house Pisces occupies in your chart, you'll have a pretty good idea where you have a tendency to ignore all the strings or be completely pulled by them. It's like there's no in between. So you need to find the middle ground. You need to look at your choices. Okay, there's 10 pulls. Let me find 5 pulls that I'm okay with. And 5 pulls that I will ignore no matter what. And then maybe you update that list after a few months or so. Because that list cannot stay always the same. It has to change. Okay, Pisces always has to change. So yeah. When does this change? So you're asking, when does these Pisces-Transits change? Well, it changes. All you have to do, you go on astro.com and you look up the months, March, April, May, June, July. Just look at the transits and you'll be able to see when this ends. It will end once the planets leave Pisces. And that's going to be when Venus and Mercury go go direct, and they go back into Aries. But if you look later, you will see that Saturn will go retrograde later this year. It will go conjunction Neptune 3 times in total. And then we'll go over the North Node also. So it will go back into Pisces until February 2026. And then it will go direct back into Aries. So Saturn and the North Node are primarily in Pisces. Those are the main players. All this Mercury, Venus, recent Sun transit, Neptune transit, this was the temporary Pisces energy. That's why anything that you experience while you have Mercury, Venus, Neptune in Pisces is only a temporary thing. Therefore, once Neptune goes into Aries, this is over. But whatever is connected to Saturn will not be over until February 2026. Are you able to identify what is your main Pisces issue in 2025? That's going to be Saturn related. Okay, let's think of your biggest problem right now. The biggest worry, even if it's a small worry, it's still the biggest, right, of a bunch. The biggest, whatever it is connected to Saturn, most likely, or the North Node. So let's say you know what is your biggest problem right now, and you know that it's Saturn that's responsible. Of course, Saturn is not causing it, Saturn is just mirroring it, okay? So Saturn is gravity and reduction. Something is pulling you down, making you feel small. So something triggers your emotions in Pisces that makes you feel helpless or like you are losing control. And Saturn is the old structure being revealed. So there's an old belief, because Pisces is belief, that keeps the same thing from happening over and over in your life. The same emotional reaction. The same trigger. And you're like, I'm tired of it. I'm getting exhausted by this. This is draining my energy. Okay? This is all Pisces Saturn stuff. What you can do about it? Well, recognize that Saturn wants to show you what you need to master, what you need to gain. The thing of Saturn is everybody says it's about success in the world. But actually, it is not. It is about success inside of you. It's about defying some expectation, some duty or responsibility, not maintaining it, resisting it, is to say no. Saturn is not creating anything. Saturn is taking it away. So there's something you need to let go of, something you need to deconstruct. And once you do, you'll feel that there comes a heavy price with it. You know, if you buy a house, it costs a lot of money. So if you want to get that new structure, need to pay the old structure. And that could mean a new career for some people, could mean a new belief. So let's say you were following a certain dogma, a certain belief system for a very long time because it kept you safe. It actually worked for you. It did something for you. And now Saturn is challenging the belief system and is forcing you to let it go. It's not trying to create something new. Yeah, all these astrologers telling you Saturn is about creating something and maintaining it. No, it's the opposite. So don't listen to any astrologers about Saturn. Yeah, you go online, you watch those videos. Don't fall for it. Yeah, it is all misinformation. Yeah, people are completely misinforming you. What Saturn is about. Saturn is a rebel. Saturn is an outcast. Saturn is the hermit in the hills. Saturn is the monk in the monastery. Saturn is a person who chooses to leave society behind, to leave the past behind, to leave the tradition behind. Not to create it, not to maintain it. This is complete misinformation. So in Pisces, there is a traditional pathway of how we maintain our faith. What do we trust that keeps us safe? What is the structure that we have put our faith into that we can no longer trust because the structure is revealed to be anything but trustworthy? Yeah. Certain challenges the faith that you put into something. Of course, you can look at the house. Pisces occupies in your chart 20 to 30 degrees the last decan. That's where Saturn resides to reveal the faith you put into something. But now as Saturn is trying to deconstruct. So Saturn is removing the grip. Yeah, you go online and again they will misinform you to tell you to strengthen your grip. No. You are asked to do the opposite. And the reason why they're misinforming you is because they associate Saturn with somebody who tells you what to do. And you're supposed to follow that instruction. Like you're supposed to suppress your will, suppress yourself, live in fear, hide to appease Saturn. So whoever put this out there, which is the majority of people, I hope that one day this is going to change. Because almost everybody is saying this, yeah? This is really bad. It's really, really, this is really a problem in the astrology. There's a huge amount of misinformation going on now about Saturn. And I think the reason why is because Saturn does all the things that you're afraid of. All the things you're not allowing yourself to do, you're supposed to do to please Saturn. And they tell you, no, stay in fear. Yes, listen to the fear. I mean, really? I don't think so. So what about the big shifts to Aries? How will Aries quality start demonstrating? How will Aries quality start demonstrating? Well, Aries is about courage to act. So that means you are afraid of acting on something. So wherever you have Aries in the chart, you're afraid of acting, or you feel unmotivated. You don't want to. So while planets are in Aries, you want to do that thing that the house represents. So if you have Aries in, let's say the third house, you don't want to communicate. But you're supposed to. And once the planets go into Aries, you will communicate. And if you don't, you feel frustrated. Okay? If you have Aries in the 11th house, and you don't have any community around you, you're not doing any networking, you're not doing any socializing, well, now you're getting frustrated so that you do socialize, so that you do get out there. So, yeah, that is how it works. The astrology creates a negative event almost all the time. This is really, nobody talks about this, so this is my own concept. Whenever a planet transits in a sign, in order for it to manifest with positivity, like Aries motivation, courage, these are positive traits. And to get those things, you must be afraid. Otherwise, there's no point in being courageous, of course. And you must be unmotivated or frustrated, otherwise there wouldn't be no point in being motivated. I know, it's so obvious, isn't it? That this is the logic of what's going to happen. Yet I have never heard in my life a single person talk about this, even though it's super obvious that this is what's happening. Very interesting, isn't it? So what is it also with all these astrologers not giving you any of this information, which is super basic? Yeah. So any sign that you look at, you want to assume that the negative traits of that sign are going to happen. So find out what those traits are. Just automatically assume it's going to happen in one way or another. The negative thing, yes. The thing you don't want is going to happen. Which will lead you to do the thing that you want to happen. Always. All the time. Foolproof method. Like you heard it first. So whenever you look at a chart and you're trying to analyze what somebody is doing, assume the worst every single time. And you will be right most of the time. And even if you assume the worst, and there's still good things happening for that person, the reason why those good things are happening is because they already went through the worst. 99.99% of the time. Wow. I know this doesn't seem like a big deal, maybe, to you, but it is a big deal. Because you need to understand this in order to even read astrologically a chart. If you don't know the worst thing that could happen to that person with those placements, then you don't know the best thing. And you don't know how the person even gets to the best thing. So if I'm in confusion, Pisces, how do I get to clarity? That's supposed to be the goal here, right? That's what I'm supposed to be doing. Well, why would I even be interested in clarity unless I was confused? Why would I even deal with clarity at all? So I must be confused. It is a necessity to be confused, to be in Pisces. Otherwise, I wouldn't be there. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the placement. Yeah. So this is how I look at it. This is my own concept. Try to find it somewhere. You will not. Nobody else talks about this. Why ever? Even though it's basic stuff. I guess I could theorize why people don't do this kind of astrology. I think because of the Virgo approach. Because if we live in a Virgo realm, Mercury realm, all the information that we receive, we try to understand logically, but we don't believe in the logic of ourselves, actually. We believe in the logic of the group. So the group tells us something, everybody in the group agrees, and then we just repeat what the group is saying. We don't question why they think that way. We don't question, okay, why is Pisces confusion? What does it mean? We don't question what is the point of it. Like, what is even the point of having Pisces placements? Why would I want that? Why would I want more confusion by having more Pisces planets in the chart? We don't ask that question, even though it's obvious. So, if it's obvious and it's logical and it's still not happening, what does that tell you? It tells you that most people are not logical, are not rational. And this whole logic that you see around you, where people are pretending to be logical or rational, yes, that's what we're doing, we're pretending. They're only following what the hive mind is doing. The reason we are even in a Mercury realm is because at some point the collective apparently decided that using logic is something that everybody can approve of. Yeah, this is how we communicate. This is how we get other people's approval, because we give them a logical framework. So then we get a group behind us, and then everybody's repeating it without anybody understanding where that logic even comes from. Yeah. So this is basically it. If you find this useful, and if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, where I talk in depth about what something means in astrology, what it really means, in a very basic way, in a very simple way that you'll probably not find anywhere out there, leave a like and subscribe. If you're also interested in my personal readings, check out my readings on my page. You can message me any given time if you're interested to booking one of my readings. That being said, thanks so much for watching and see you in the next video. Bye bye.